was your experience talking in CXO panel?
Fantastic, especially I was able to hang around with David and my ex-colleague Lucas from Palo Alto and a panel member from Microsoft. We had an excellent conversation discussing everything from cloud data protection, identity, variety of topics. And more importantly, we had a great engagement from the crowd. A lot of good questions from the crowd.
I agree. Yeah, there was great cloud. There you go. Crowd participation about the cloud. So yeah, it was a really enjoyable panel. Great group of guys as well.
So data security was a topic at the panel, right? So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah. So data security. The thing about data security is step number one is data classification and then determining what is the most important data that you have and where it lives, and then building controls around that data. So I think that's an essential part of any security program, but when it comes to the cloud, the same thing applies.
Yeah, I would like to echo what David said. Data is your crown jewels, right? You have to make sure that first you know what data is going to the cloud and making sure that you secure it in three different ways. First is making sure that data in transit is secure. So that means, from your endpoint all the way to the cloud. And number two is data at rest, right? Which basically making sure that data is completely devalued with encryption technologies, tokenization, what have you. And number three, which is more of a difficult problem to solve, is the data in use. So once the data is in the cloud and in the memory, in processing by application, how do you ensure that you can actually completely protect the data from malware, from insider threats, from hackers? So it's a very challenging problem. The good news is that there are a lot of good technologies that will help you to solve the problem. Good automation. David is big on automation here. So able to use automation to make sure that we can discover data automatically, classify it, and making sure that data at every point in the life cycle is secure.
And what kind of role do you think automation plays in cloud security?
Sure. So yeah, it's a really important part of your strategy. Looking for tasks that are repeatable and simple, and automating those. The thing about cloud, a cloud strategy is really it's often built around scaling. So when you're moving to the cloud, it's with the goal of scaling well, and your security strategy needs to scale in the same way. There are limits to automation though, and we had talked about whether you can automate your way out of needing to have a security team. I'm afraid that's not going to happen anytime soon, so good news for security professionals out there, but it's something that has a role, automation, but it's not going to be a silver bullet that solves all your problems. There's still really a lot of value in the human touch and human intervention. We find that things like static code analysis have a great deal of value, but there are limits to what it can do for you. Dynamic testing is the same way. I think it is a little bit more valuable. You can find a lot of issues using dynamic testing applications, but the most valuable activity is human testing, pen testing, and threat modeling. Threat modeling is extremely valuable from our perspective. That's where we get the most return on investment.
Yeah, I think David touched upon a lot of very good points. So to me, automation is a forcing function, right? To make sure that you able to secure the data, whether it is your sensitive information or other information, you can do it at the source, right? So automation provides you the ingredient, but again, it doesn't mean a silver bullet to solve everything. The second point is that automation helps you to build security into the product from get-go. So this is a built-in security versus bolting on. But again, you need to have safety valves, because there could be situations where your automation can run amok, and be able to, need to have safety valves where we can detect those kind of issues early and be able to respond to that. The third thing I would say is that there's a huge movement towards DevOps, which we can't escape from. So SecDevOps is an opportunity for information security team to scale, right? How do you shift left? How do you shift the responsibility from the pen testers to all the way to the developers and SecDevOps, so that we can make sure that when the system is configured, it's configured securely and follow and not only from the state from the beginning, but also throughout the life cycle. So there's a big issue around drifting. So when you have a drift that happens in the product, security should move with that, right? So we should be able to adjust to the new configuration and new threat landscape. So automation can help you with in providing you an end-to-end automation, to secure end-to-end.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad to have you here, really.
Thank you. Absolutely great.
Thank you. It was fun.